So we've been talking to some of the biggest and most active firms within this region, among them the biggest investment bank, Shuaa Capital. Today, joining me now live is the head of their brokerage division from Shuaa, Mohammed Yasin. Thank you so much for joining us here.
My pleasure.
Now, the headlines that dominate about this region, particularly about Dubai, is that of financial crisis. What are you seeing?
I think we passed through some very tough times. We got our heavy share in Dubai, in particular. A lot of it was really because of what happened in terms of the world, in terms of banks drying up, and in terms of the real estate slowing down and correcting. It was a bad year in last quarter of 2008. The markets here went down like 72%, but we were able to really rebound, I think, much earlier than others because we were hit fastest, so we recovered fastest. Since March this year, we've seen a very good recovery, a slow one, but it's a steady one. The markets have been probably the best performing, together with Saudi, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Saudi have been the best performing so far in the GCC. And I think it's looking up as time goes by.
Now, one of the things that you hear from investors is a little bit of apprehension that not everything is known quite yet in terms of clarity into the true level of debt that is there, and in terms of what some of these mortgage lenders, what some of these housing companies are going to look like when restructuring happens. What are you concerned about?
I think part of that was true maybe when the crisis started. I think now there's more hands-on. I mean, everything now is more under control. I think there's a proper now consolidation that we see happening, whether at the government level, whether at the semi-government organizations. We see changes in some of the faces, and we see changes in terms of some of the moves. We see, for example, in Dubai, consolidation of most of the assets under ICD. We see bringing new people, maybe new men to a new phase in terms of recovery. But in general, till today, Dubai and UAE in general has been able to cope much better than lots of others gave them hope for beginning of the year. They haven't defaulted on anybody. They haven't been late in payment of anything in terms of government or semi-government debts. If anything, we got hit by some of the other GCC companies or companies defaulting. So really, it's felt in some places that we are a victim of what's happened in the world, but we really got hit, and people were looking for holes maybe and didn't give us credit for the kind of improvements that have been done and that reached where we are today in terms of the economy.
Well, today the markets did rebound here a bit. Dubai's markets finished up after a few days of pressure there, partially as a result of a little bit of uncertainty as to just what it meant over the weekend to see that reshuffling. If you are going to put money to work in this region right now, where are you seeing promise?
I really see a lot of promise in the markets in the GCC in general. As being strongly based in the UAE, I look here and I see a lot of opportunities. I see the phase that we are going with now is a phase of accumulation. It's a momentum-driven market today because when you have dollar going so low, everybody's trying to go and run for other asset bases. Real estate is very steady now. I mean, it's not going anywhere, so you can't really look at returns at it. Fixed income has done as much as it can in terms of bonds, so really equity markets are the ones to go for. We see now what we saw in August, where volumes were low, foreign investors were net buyers mostly, and that tells me we're in a period of accumulation. Because I think fourth quarter, we're going to have some positive momentum news that's going to help the market move forward in some areas. Even things like real estate, if you pick like the Amars. If you look at some of the banks, they did very well. In my opinion, some of them were over-provisioned, things like NBAD, FGB, and I think some of the service sector are going to show some good surprises in the fourth quarter.
All right. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for joining us here for this special broadcast. Mohammed Yasin of Shuaa Capital.